You've tuned in for another deep dive. And this time, well, the source material comes straight from you, our listeners. It's a YouTube transcript you sent over.
Oh, yeah.
It's from a channel called Answers from Other Worlds, and it gets into some pretty fascinating stuff. A spiritual revolution, these different types of incarnating beings, indigo, crystal, rainbow children.
Right. I think I know the one you mean. And future societal shifts. Yeah.
Exactly. So the plan today is to, unpack these ideas, explore the qualities they describe for each group, and look at the changes they predict for the near future.
Sounds good. It's definitely a unique perspective on current trends, maybe even what's coming next.
It is. And just so everyone's clear, this information, according to the video, comes from the Pleiadian Council.
Okay, so starting point.
Right. Let's dive in.
So this core idea, different flavors of beings incarnating, each with like distinct psychic leanings.
Yeah, different experiences, different tendencies, like the universe trying out variations through us.
And it's not just Generation X, Millennials, Gen Z, is it? It's more fluid.
Definitely not linear. The source is clear someone born later could totally resonate with, say, the indigo traits, even if that wave was supposedly earlier.
It's about the resonance, not the birth year. Makes sense.
So the main groups they call out are indigo children, crystal children, and rainbow children.
Okay, let's start with the indigos then. What's their main thing according to this?
Strong intuition is key. Like a really powerful gut feeling, knowing things beyond the usual five senses.
Feeling energy too, right? Almost physically. And that empathy.
Oh yeah, the empathy sounds intense. Sometimes maybe too intense.
Well, the Pleiadians suggest that,
Yeah.
some might even like subconsciously put up shields or dampen it down just to cope with everyday life. It can be a lot to carry.
But the flip side is this huge potential, isn't it? Things like energy healing, maybe channeling.
Connecting to unseen realms, that kind of thing. Natural gifts.
Which makes you think, where are they now? The source mentions them being parents, even grandparents.
Right. So their influence could be pretty widespread, especially in, say, spiritual circles or alternative movements, whether they call themselves indigo or not.
And it's probably a spectrum, too. Like the Pleiadians say, not all indigos fully opened up these gifts.
Some might have let them go dormant, while others are actively using them, maybe teaching or helping others.
It shows how personal the journey is, even within these archetypes. Okay, what about the crystal children? They come next.
Yeah, positioned as a slightly more recent generation after the main indigo wave. And they mention strong social skills, which is interesting.
Alongside high intuition as well.
Right. And this fascinating bit about some maybe incarnating with actual past life memories.
Or just a really strong pull to cultures that feel familiar, even if they've never been there, like a soul memory.
Exactly. Suggests a continuity across lives, plus a strong connection to crystals.
Like an energetic affinity.
Seems like it. And often very artistic, drawn to creative expression.
That makes sense. The source also mentions challenges with traditional schooling, doesn't it?
It does. That need for creative exploration, for following their own passions. A rigid system might be tough for kids with those kinds of sensitivities and drives.
Yeah, you can see how that might clash.
So then, after the crystals, we have the rainbow children.
Right, mentioned as part of the more recent wave, alongside the crystals.
But the source doesn't actually go into much detail about their specific qualities, does it?
No, it's more like they just mention their existence as the next phase. It kind of leaves you wondering.
It does. What defines that wave? But okay, shifting to the broader future. The Pleiadians talk about kids today, especially in the developed world.
And how technology is shaping their evolution in specific ways.
Yeah. And one big outcome they see is heightened empathy becoming more common overall, not just limited to these specific named groups.
So like a general rising tide of empathy.
Kind of. Which could really change society. But they also flag potential downsides.
Like what?
Maybe a lower tolerance for stress, for instance. And maybe less willingness to do traditional jobs, things that don't feel intrinsically meaningful.
Okay, so that could definitely cause some friction.
And that leads to the big prediction. This shift in the younger generations causing a massive wave of change. Globally, as they become adults. And the timeline, pretty soon, actually.
What did they say? Within the next
10 to 20 years, starting from, well, roughly now, March 2025.
Wow, okay. That is near term.
And it connects to something else mentioned, human design.
Yes, the 2027 prediction. What was that link again?
Human design apparently predicts a big shift in incarnation cycles around 2027. like fundamentally different kinds of beings starting to arrive.
And the Pleiadian Council agrees with that.
They seem to. They confirm a significant change around mid-2027.
And the human design perspective ties this to autism.
Yeah, it suggests that what we currently see as artism might be like an early sign of these new beings, characterized by more direct, maybe telepathic communication.
And forming strong bonds in smaller groups.
Right. The Pleiadians support this idea of a shift, but they also say, it might not be instantly obvious. It'll become clearer over time.
So it's more gradual than sudden, maybe?
Perhaps. And they link all this to the growing awareness we see around sensitivities, people advocating for a world that accommodates differences rather than forcing conformity.
They call that awareness itself a kind of revolution.
Yeah, an ongoing one in how we understand ourselves and each other.
Which ties into that whole individuality versus community theme, doesn't it?
It does. Human design apparently emphasizes individuality as the way forward, maybe moving away from older collective systems.
But the Pleiadians have a slightly different take, more nuanced.
Exactly. They stress the importance of individuation, like really knowing yourself as unique, but they also see a stronger need for community and collaboration.
So not either.
No, it's about finding a new balance. They talk about re-energizing a sort of tribal mindset.
But based on self-awareness.
Right. Grounded in knowing your own values so you can find your true community, the people you genuinely resonate with. It's more conscious.
That makes sense. They also critique how individuality gets twisted now, right?
Yeah, how it's been kind of hijacked to fuel consumerism. Always comparing, always needing to be better than someone else.
That hierarchical thing.
Exactly. But the individuation they're talking about is different. It's about understanding your gifts.
To support the community.
Precisely. Not to be the best in it, but to be a valuable part of it, sharing what you uniquely offer.
A really key distinction. Okay, let's shift gears slightly to the political side of things. Given where we are now, March 2025, they acknowledge it's bumpy.
Very bumpy. Lots of polarization.
But their view is that this polarization, however uncomfortable, is actually necessary.
Yeah, like it allows discordant energies, old conflicts to be released. It shakes things up.
Creating storms, as they put it, but ultimately leading to more empowerment.
That's the idea. They expect volatility, though. Rapid shifts between feeling safe and feeling threatened.
They call it a rapid wave of deconstruction.
And they predict a big revolution coming.
But not a violent one, necessarily.
No, not in the traditional sense. They place it probably between the end of 2025 and early 2027.
And where is this mainly focused?
Primarily the United States, according to the source, though they also mention potential uprisings in Asia and Russia.
What about Europe?
A more positive outlook there. They see a sort of recalibration, a strengthening of bonds between nations.
Interesting. Quite a global sweep. So, wrapping up, they offer thoughts on personal growth linking to all this.
Yes, really insightful stuff. The importance of acting on your passion, your joy.
Without being attached to the outcome.
Exactly. That's the path to becoming your most authentic self.
And it's not about fixing yourself.
Not at all. It's about allowing that love, joy, passion to just radiate. That's what unlocks your inner genius, your unique gifts.
Emotional intelligence is key too, right? Understanding your feelings.
Crucial. Navigating your emotions to connect with your heart's core. Consciously choosing what expands and stabilizes you.
Which leads to that state they call awe and overflow.
Yeah, empowering yourself from within.
And that personal energy then ripples out.
It does, contributing to a wider soft revolution. One driven by love, compassion, starting with really accepting yourself.
They also tackle that idea of self-care being selfish.
Right, they flip that.
Yeah.
Saying true fulfillment, connection to source, comes from sharing your gifts, not hoarding energy out of fear.
So openness, generosity, sharing.
Yeah.
That's freedom.
That's the message, which, as they point out, has echoes of the 1960s flower power vibe in its essence.
Love and connection. So, okay, bringing this all together.
Yeah.
We've looked at these different waves of beings, indigo, crystal, rainbow, with their unique sensitivities.
And the potential societal shifts coming from future generations, plus this evolving idea of balancing individuality and community.
And this concept of an ongoing, nonviolent revolution based on personal passion and, well, love.
So the thought to leave everyone with is this. If you really take on board these ideas about sensitivity, about individual contribution being vital, how does that change how you see what's happening in the world right now? Or even, your own sense of purpose. What does it actually mean for you to find and share your unique gifts in this landscape we're all navigating.
Something to really sit with. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. And thanks again to the listener who sent this source our way. Truly fascinating ideas.